Hi everybody, welcome back to 12 Acres. If you're new here, my name is Valerie and I live here on our farm with my husband and our 4 boys. We have 12 acres and an old farmhouse, and there is always an abundance of projects that we're working on. One of the things we are trying to focus on is growing our own food and being more self-sufficient. And one of the ways you can be self-sufficient is by incubating your own chickens. The incubator I use is the Nurture Right 360, which I really like, and one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, what is a good way to clean this after you've had a successful incubation? It can get pretty gross inside of those things with the chicks and the things that might come out of them during the hatching process and afterwards. So it can be pretty challenging to clean this. So that is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. As for the user guide, it only tells us to wipe out the inside of the incubator using a damp cloth and some like sanitizing cleaner. But I have found that that just does not cut it. So this is how I clean it. And obviously you have to be careful about not submerging any of the electrical parts in water. So take a look and see. This is how I do it, and hopefully this will work for you. The tools you will need are an old scrub brush, an old toothbrush, some regular dish soap or liquid soap, and some bleach. And I like to do this in the bathtub, but you could certainly do it in your sink if you wanted to. So after a successful hatch, you will often find chunks of eggs, gooey stuff, a lot of little fuzz. I don't know if you can see any of that from the baby chicks themselves. Just, nastiness that needs to be cleaned out. And you want it to end up with a sanitized, hopefully germ-free environment that is ready for your next incubation. So I just took the top off and I'm going to set it to the side for now. And I didn't take the turner out on this last incubation because I did duck eggs, and they are so large that they don't really slide in and out of these spaces very easily. So I just left the turner in there. Of course, it was no longer turning during lockdown, but you want to pop that out because we will also be scrubbing this. And then for all of your loose, find something that I can grab. You just want to throw away any remainders of the eggs. Nasty. So I still have a little bit of goo stuck on here and a lot of nastiness that needs to be cleaned out. So I'm going to go ahead and run a couple inches of water in the bottom of the tub just so I can soak these items, but I'm not going to submerge the remainder of the incubator. Alright, I went ahead and just put a little bit of the dish soap in there. There's just a couple inches of water just to submerge those and get some of that gooey stuff to soften up. Now for this nasty thing, keep in mind you do have an electric wire coming out of the bottom, so you do not want to submerge this whole thing. However, I will, holding this with one hand to make sure that the cord does not fall into the water, I will rinse this under running water to kind of start getting the cleaning process going. Let's go ahead and scrub these and get them done so that they're out of here. And for that, I'm just going to use this. We've already got soapy water in here, so we're just going to scrub it down. Alright, now it is time for this one. I'm going to go ahead and run some water over it and start scrubbing it with my scrub brush, not applying any soap or anything at the moment, but just watch. Make sure you keep this out of the water though. Now, after cleaning it with the soap and hot water and scrubbing it as best I could, I'm going to go ahead and put a little splash of bleach on here with some water and just wipe it or scrub it down with that as well to try to kill any of the remaining germs that I wasn't able to successfully clean off. Just a splash. Mix it with some water and then do the same thing. Trying to get into all the little deep parts of the channel as you can. It's not a real good design on this as far as cleaning goes. Makes it very difficult. Hence the toothbrush. And then for final, you just want to rinse it really good. Make sure there's no residue from your soap or bleach. So this is what we are left with. It looks much cleaner than it did before. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but we actually have somewhat hard water here. So in this main channel, which is the channel that you'll usually add water to during the entire hatching process, if you're not doing a dry hatch, it has a little bit of the buildup around it. So I can't really clean that very well. I'm sure there are probably some products that I could use to get that off of there. But since I have reverted now to only doing dry hatches, this will not get any worse than it already is. And I've sanitized it, bleached it. I don't think that it's going to harbor any harmful bacteria. At least it hasn't yet. And I've been doing a dry hatch with this for the last couple of years with no problem, even with this buildup in there. So that is how I do that part. Now let's move on to the dome. Downy, dusty stuff that comes off the baby chicks as they have their feathers drying, you know, once they hatch out of their egg. And in the drying process, they can give off some of that little light, flaky stuff. So I'm not actually going to like wash this down or anything. For this part, I will follow the instruction guide and we'll just wipe it out with a damp cloth, and that is sufficient. Okay, now we have a perfectly clean, or almost perfectly clean and sanitized incubator. And the instruction manual now actually does recommend that you plug it in and let it run so that it can thoroughly dry out any of the components inside that may have gotten wet. So that is what I'm going to do, but it will also help to warm up the incubator for my next hatch, which I will be loading up this afternoon. So that's all there is to it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any more questions, be sure to put them down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.